Okay, we've got the agenda ahead of us. Is there any additions, corrections, or deletions? Now, we're in order for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, we've got the minutes from last week's meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, the first item on the agenda today is secondary roads. Dave?
Well, I'm pretty lucky.
Privileged.
You're on the agenda, so make it good.
Oh, golly, the pressure's on. What do you think about this?
Looks like a book.
No wonder it's a short meeting. Better go through that.
You read all that this weekend?
I did read that, not this weekend. Should be one there for everybody, kind of a summary sheet of the route that CenturyLink is taking to supply fiber optics to the rural area, Willie and Roselle. And I've got a copy of our permit here. It's pretty vague because we have all the detail in these plans.
I don't see him going to your house.
No, that's
Marty.
I don't see that either.
No, I wonder why not.
That would have been a good road to
That-
be on.
They talked about doing that, going to Glidden at one time.
A lot of people live on that mile stretch.
Getting up past Mulford and
Mhm.
into Willie pretty good, and into Roselle. And
Interesting.
Gene and I remember the,
No.
I won't say anymore.
That's a lot of fiber.
That's a lot of fiber. In fact, it's 112,793 feet of fiber.
12,700.
112,793. Buried fiber optic, BFO. I scratched my head on that one for quite a while. And 144 microfibers. It looks like there might be some others. The numbers written there by them are the sheets. So for instance, down in Roselle, sheet 91 shows the detail in Roselle. Oh, that's the last sheet too. That can't hardly be right. It's not. Maybe that's 70.
It's like a 9 to me.
Does to me too.
And that's 86.
What, they going north of Carroll too then?
They are
Just that mile?
just that mile, and they're going inside of Carroll. Here's first sheet will show you a little more detail where they're going inside of Carroll, which is not.
There's some homes on this.
Well, it says Volport Customs there, and really at this corner, there's one house here, a house there.
It comes, I can't.
Here's
That's
the
on it.
town of Roselle. It looks like, I must have wrote the wrong number on that. 89 is the,
So where are they going north of Willie there?
That's by Volport Customs there.
is
That's
that
by
where it's
Schumacher-
at?
That would
yeah,
be a half
Schumacher's
mile,
School.
but I don't know why they're
Yeah.
going the other half mile.
That's what I'm wondering.
Okay, what sheet is this?
That's the city of Carroll.
The second one's 89.
Finish it up
Roselle. It has 91 on the map.
This right here.
somebody made
Yeah.
a
You know,
mistake. Yeah,
it's just interesting, because I got a phone call here about a week or so ago about broadband. They're hooking up with CenturyLink, and I wonder if that's affiliated with a lot of.
That's a lot of feet,
They
yeah.
pay
Which
X
broadband?
amount.
So,
Breeze,
so
Beach,
Dave, are they
Breeze,
dropping
Breeze.
to all these houses in Roselle? It doesn't show that on here.
No, I think this is kind of
Just going into their peds?
the main part. And then they'll go, I know my son has got copper going from fiber optic, he's got copper going to his house in a little town in the pier, so I'm kind of assuming that may be what happened, that they leave.
They're not gonna do any residential drops with fiber then.
I'm guessing not, but I really don't know, Dean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anybody like to see any other locations, and I'll pull the page numbers out if you're interested.
60.
Well, there's one residence on the south side there.
Yeah, I just wonder why, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
To the north.
Well, north and the south side, the east one side road is the old Howard Place.
Yeah.
But
It's all
that's,
residential.
Get one of them old businesses.
that's not even clear to the end of that mile.
No, it isn't.
They're going into a bed there too.
What's their, cherry picking?
Mm-hmm.
We got farm permits. Here's the town of Willie, 63 and 64, kind of, it's like they're running kind of underneath the sidewalk there on the south side of the road.
Little boring machine close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks the boring machines are so great, and they all, when you're looking at them from the surface, it does, but when they run through one of your tiles or something else.
Those are the ones you can't see.
You
The
find
ones you
later.
can't see.
Oh, they never do that.
No, they never do that. Power guys were telling us they're putting that feed in, Corn Belt's putting that feed in from the substation north of Glidden, over to Ralston. And he was saying that they had a pole in another location that they had bored a fiber optic through the pole, and they couldn't pull the pole up, it was stuck on the cable.
Oh, man. Need a bigger winch.
Yeah.
Pull it. Make a bigger mess.
Yeah, they
Could
put
have,
in,
could have gas line goes through the sewer line, and somebody tries to route the sewer line.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them.
Yeah. I don't know, it's getting to be a mess out there, it's getting to be pretty difficult. Al would like to buy one of those potholers that you can excavate down, I don't know if you've seen those where they water jet down and then
Yeah.
they suction out
Suck
the
it out.
material. And the REC has came in a number of locations for us to help us when we're having real trouble. And
You don't cut anything.
find the wire, come down there, there the wire is, and you can mark it and do your digging and
Trace everything.
It's right there.
it's right there.
You know, you don't have to have the backhoe to make the mess.
They use that in Templeton when
It
they
does
put
cut back
fiber
on
in
the
there.
mess.
A
A
lot.
lot, yeah.
And they really,
I think the day could come when we might have to do it. I kinda wish that everything was on telephone poles yet.
Then there's windstorms, Dave.
appreciate being underground after an ice storm.
Yeah.
I was sitting in an alley here in town Friday, waiting to go into a meeting. I was on a phone call and I'm gawking around. They're still using lead cable here. That hasn't, last time I knew that construction was probably 1935 to 1945.
Wow.
And it looks like they're still active to the homes with it.
My lead cable at my house kept failing, it kept humming every time it rained. They finally asked me to see if I couldn't find somebody else to supply my phone, and it was,
The cost is just phenomenal trying to find those problems.
yeah.
They're everywhere. The cracks in them are everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they're 100 years old.
Yeah, and I think this copper plant down there is in pretty bad shape from what I've heard.
Mhm.
It's probably built in early 70s.
Roselle is a,
We got to see it in person.
Yeah, Roselle, when they were doing the streets.
Yeah, inside that pit. in the
I'm really
ground,
surprised they're
explosion.
going to Roselle, because I think most people want to drop their landline and want their goddamn cell phone down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're trying to get them back.
Well, don't they use that for internet too?
That's internet. They're after the internet. They're not
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
cells.
And I really don't know if they're gonna use copper like I was saying, I'm just kinda guessing there rather than taking fiber out. else, but maybe
Yeah, I think
that's
some of
their
those,
plan.
most of those plants were built in the sixties and early seventies, and they're 50 years old already.
Yeah, I don't think they'll put fiber to the house. CenturyLink, I don't think will.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised.
Pretty expensive.
I think we'll find out as
They do
time
it for
goes
one.
on.
Everybody wants it, then
Hey.
just get that one.
That's why I said, it looked like
Get
they're
that one
cherry
hooked up,
picking some of
yeah.
the spots maybe there after some internet service, but they're probably gonna feed it with copper to the house.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
I don't think I have to send these plans back to them, I think I just have to send the permit back to them.
Is that all the permits?
That's, yeah, that's the only
That's
one.
enough?
Yeah,
I'll
that's
make a
enough,
motion to
yeah.
approve the utility permit.
Got a
I'll
mo-
second.
Got a motion on the floor to approve the utility permit for CenturyLink. Any other discussion? Now, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is that plan or that permit down there?
The permit all the way down there now. Yeah.
This- That's 12 minutes. Not bad.
You got 2 minutes on the next one? No.
I'll take it.
Yeah, maybe 3.
Okay, we'll go down to the next item. It's a snowplow equipment quote.
This is, yeah.
We could save you time, just deny it anyway, not to put the paperwork out.
That's supposed
Kind
to
of
be-
deflating a little bit. We'll kick him down the curb too.
If I didn't get that stapled, we'll see here.
Like everybody else
When
would
it
do.
goes around the horn, that's supposed to be on the. Oh, no, I didn't,
sorry.
yeah, that's a clean copy of that quote.
You know what, I got 2 of them.
Heck, you do.
After we talked about buying the 2 units, one in June or whenever it showed up, and then one in July, they're saying that they can't deliver until July. They've had a rush of orders, and they're ordered full, so thought I would tell you about it, see what you said. Both of them would come in July, have a little more information. The warranty, we have up to 9 months, maybe even a little longer, to add this additional 5 or 6 year warranty in. It's stated on there, the prices are for the engine and the after treatment. This shows the trade on there, unit 23, that they appraised it as that. They are willing to put this on their auction. Housby's got an auction service, and I think it's a pretty good sized auction. And if we wind up getting more than that, they'd take 9.5% off the top. So say they got 10,000 for the trade, they'd take 950 off and give us the balance. So I don't think we can lose on that deal. They'll guarantee us the 5,500. I did look and see if I can find the
So
paper.
they're actually not able to make the commitment of their bid they put out then? You're
Yeah.
saying they can't get both of them, you can't get either one of them here?
That's right, yeah.
Until June?
July, yeah. This is delivery time, July of 2018. I think, oh, it was Gene last week, somebody asked what we paid the last time around. The quote for the last time we got an automatic transmission, one with a 12-speed automatic, was $110,350. So.
And that was what date?
That was, it was a 2017 model, and I think it was in 2016, the quote, I'm not sure if I got it.
About right at $4,000 in 2 years. Not a big a jump. It's not a very big jump. $100,000
That's price of steel going up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, 3.8% price increase.
So then we're gonna have to carry over our, for that, cover that truck.
The next page on this is the snow equipment in a box. We've already purchased one box, it's already been painted. We're gonna need 2 reversible plows, 2 wings, 2 tailgate spreaders, 1 box, 1 DOT 4 light system, or 2 of them, and 2 of the tier 3 warnings on the side. The dump body vibrator, the air cylinder, and those headlights, we may source them from here, but we'll source get some other prices on there. The pencil written in amounts are what we last paid. The biggest difference is the under tailgate spreader, which we're looking at a different brand if I can find it. And it's not a huge difference. I got too many papers. I'm not sure I got it with me. Anyway, we're looking at a Heil brand that has a larger capacity to dump the material, and it'll open the tailgate up further. It's got a plate on the back of the sander, and
Picture
I wish I
model.
brought the picture. Oh, here it is. These 2 little bitty pictures show it better. It's got side plates on the side of it, and this plate will lift up, will stand up, actually will slope back. And this here, allowing the tailgate to come open further, allowing more material to come in and set on top of the sander, which require you to raise up and down your box less, because you gotta raise your box, dump it in there, drop your box a little bit to keep travel in it.
This basically controls the flow more.
Yeah, looks like a real good idea, and it's stainless steel, and they're all otherwise about the same. But the last one we paid, the Swenson, we paid $4,200 for a couple of years ago, and this one's $4,890. So I didn't figure the price increase on that, but that's a bigger price increase than.
Is that open outside the tailgate, as far as trough, or inside the
So the
tailgate?
pencil
Form
is
kind
the
of
Heils.
a guide.
The old one wasn't a Heil.
You can
The
see
new one's
that
a Heil.
right in picture.
Okay, outside.
What was the pencil?
Outside
always
the
been
last back,
last
allows the
time.
tailgate
Last
to
time.
swing further
Oh,
back,
okay.
thereby allow more material to come into the throat of the sander. Which
Just to say that every one of them is ordered.
I didn't price
Yeah.
the
So
we're not
Swenson.
looking at that one.
The lower one is last part-time.
So I didn't price the Swenson again this year. That's the brand we've been using, is a Swenson sander. And they're a good brand too. They just don't have this feature.
Well, just that first one, or no? First 2 went low, first 2.
Prices from Highway they're up a little bit. In 2016, we took quotes from 3 vendors, and today they would just be just about $300 higher than the next vendor based on his 2016 quotes. So I think they're treating us right price-wise.
This is just the equipment, it's not installation.
No, we're gonna be
We're gonna do
installing
that.
this ourselves.
Okay.
Highway's been a good vendor with our last 2 trucks. They were really helpful, giving us photos, hints, whatnot.
And you say you have the one box here ready?
We have the one box here already. We were gonna put that on 47, but we decided to spend less money and just fix 47's box. We had Galen fix it. We knew at some point we'd be buying a new truck, and we saved that box for one of the new trucks. And we've also got to buy the hydraulics, which is the most expensive component, really, if you're not counting the rest of this as together. Last year, it was around $21,477, our quote for us for the hydraulics. They're awfully sophisticated.
$21,770?
$21,477 was our quote from last year. I would imagine they're gonna be a little bit higher too. Haven't gotten a quote from them. Budget-wise, if you guys did go along with this, I think we could get all the accessories, the hydraulics, or say roughly $42,000 worth of hydraulics, and the snow plows, wings, boxes, and all that other stuff, get that this year and consume some of our this year's budget.
Do the trucks next year when they come in July.
Do the trucks in
Try to get all
July.
this eight.
We have $189,000, roughly, almost $190,000 left in our budget this year. And if we'd spend 79 for the box and the snow equipment for the two trucks, and 43 for the hydraulics, it'd be $122,000. So we'd come in under budget, and we'd spend a good share of that money that we had budgeted. But not as much as one truck. One truck would be $114,000.
So but then you'd have time to get this box painted.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have the box painted at the factory. Last year, we had it painted down in Des Moines. We had to drag it down there, and they sandblasted primer and painted it. It was about $2,700. We were getting it painted for $2,500. Plus, we had to drag it down there and spend the time messing around with it. They did a little more work than just paint the box and paint the rear hitch too for the $2,700. So I think Highway Truck is charging us $2,500 to have the box painted.
About a third of our expenses on the two trucks is the equipment.
It is, yeah.
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 It's misleading when you see the bid on a truck and you don't get all the accessories hanging on.
Yeah, we have $400,000
I've always said that.
We invest a lot in those trucks, just like you say, a third, easily a third, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to do a good job on it, keep them a long time, because we can't be affording to trade these in. There's some hidden costs with our labor that's in it, because it's no easy job to install all this stuff.
Do most counties do this, or do they just buy a complete unit?
Well, that's one of our neighbors do.
The rest just buy a complete
They
unit?
buy it, and they take them out to the vendors, and we've done that a couple of times in the past, but we usually found that they took shortcuts. For instance, the two trucks that we did back in '99, they used low-quality hydraulic hose that came back to haunt us later. We had trouble with hydraulic hose, rupturing. They used a gear-type pump, and rather than a piston-type pump.
So what do you think you're saving by doing it yourself,
Boy,
dollar-wise?
I think probably our savings comes in the quality, and we have less trouble down the line with them. We still have plenty of trouble with them.
You probably understand it better by putting it together yourself.
We do, yeah. And the hydraulics have gotten pretty complicated, but they work a lot better than what they do. But all this is electronically run, the valves are electrically modulated, and you can even control flow now, rather we used to have a valve that would come in the cab with a big knob on it that would turn, that would leak oil. And to run the spinner, then you'd have to run that knob, and now it's actually
Electronic.
ground sensed. If the truck's moving, the spinner will start going. If the truck stops, the spinner will quit going. And maybe it's more complicated than it needs to be, but all that stuff is pretty nice.
Technology's great when it works. When it doesn't work, it's not so great.
Yeah. We've got a couple of guys in-house that are pretty technologically savvy. Ron Fay.
Yeah, so you say Ron's good at that stuff.
And,
So if you go through with this, when do you think these trucks will be up and operating?
I think they'll be ready for next winter. Maybe one of them will be ready for next fall. And winter's what we're really looking for. We put roughly 300,000 miles on our truck fleet in a year. And we've got some that are in the 500,000 mile range that are not very reliable anymore. In fact, they couldn't be sander trucks anymore because that equipment's been stripped off of them. And they've got some pretty good age to them. So about at 450,000, somewhere in that neck of the woods, we should be looking at trading. And we're pretty well on schedule with that. I think we're gonna have several years, maybe 3 years, that we won't need to buy a truck, maybe even 4.
That was gonna be one of my next questions, was how soon we're gonna have to do this again.
Because we've got 2 from 2012, and if we have these 2 here, we should have some pretty low mile ones. And, I can do the math in my head or not, with 300,000 a year, 4 trucks. Yeah, that could give us up to 6 years worth of running before we burnt that many miles. I'd like to make this easy, but it seems like it never is.
Well, I'm not crazy that they put out a bid on them trucks, then not be able to follow through on it.
No, I'm not either. I think it took them by surprise too.
I mean,
Somebody must have posted a pretty good size order in on them.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's fortunate that we're actually doing it now as opposed to in a few months or something. Sounds like the metal prices will
Go up maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
will
Sure
go up.
sounds like it.
And so to have this done already, I think is a good thing. We didn't know that going into it.
No, we did not.
I guess what I'm asking is to buy the 2 trucks with a guaranteed trade of 5,500, hoping that we'll get more of the trade, taking it through the auction. Look at the warranty, but I'm thinking that's probably a good thing to do the warranty. My shop foreman agrees that it'd probably be smart to do this, because it'd be pretty easy to consume that $4,625. Do that at some point after we get the units and before the offer is gone.
Last week, you guys approved the purchase of 2 trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One in 18 and one in
That'd be the difference, yeah.
Oh.
No, today it's the equipment.
well,
So
basically,
both of these at
that-
19.
I would say basically that bid is null and void because what was the understanding one was gonna be this year.
Yeah.
So I would say we have to redo it.
Your approval would be null and void because you.
Because
you said
they
one in
walked
18,
away
one
from
in
it.
19,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'd basically be amending it. at all 19.
Yeah, so they actually walked away from it, because they couldn't deliver.
It's not right.
Yeah, we should reapprove the two trucks in 19 if that's what we want.
And do you want the equipment today then too, Dave?
I
Is
think
that
so, 'cause
what
I
you're-
wanna get
Because you
on
want to try to
stick
put
and
that in this year's budget.
Get it bought in
Correct.
this year's budget.
The money that you had left,
Yes.
that you had left.
Either that or-
The 189,000
The bid.
left, you know, this equipment should maybe consume 122, and I'm guessing at the price of the hydraulics, but somewhere in that neck of the woods, so we've got enough money to do that, we've got more.
Well, being said, yeah, being said we don't get trucks fast for sure, I agree with what you're thinking. And there's probably some that they can probably do some work on while they're waiting, can't they?
Yeah,
So we can kind of get a jump on it.
Yeah.
Did they actually promise you that you were gonna get a truck this year?
That was,
This
they did
fiscal year?
deliver one this year.
yeah, we.
I mean, they didn't
that's-
have any problem with that,
That's
or,
what we were
you know.
talking, one and one. and
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle. I don't know that I brought that original quote, but it's been I did bring it. It's been a while, we've been messing around. Something changed.
Now, this truck we intend on trading in, if we go through this, do we make that available to them now or when we get delivery?
I haven't discussed that with them.
See, if we get to them now, if we approve this, we'd be short another truck.
We would. Last year, we only put like 1,900 miles on that truck. It didn't get used a lot. It needs brakes. It's not being driven much.
Okay.
Do you have some, maybe some
Delivery time June
anticipated,
2018.
anticipated repairs on that then, Dave?
And that's from them.
That
That's our quote last
We
week.
won't do,
Okay.
it's based on what they saw is what they get. What'd you say, Gene?
Delivery June 2018.
Yeah.
It's right on there.
What was the date of that quote that they?
Oh, yeah, maybe go back and look for it again. The date on that? 2/2/2018.
Second.
February 2nd. So here, within a month, they filled up.
So, but they were guaranteeing delivery date in June, and now they're telling us it'll be July.
Yeah.
So they're talking about 30 days short.
But we were doing that for budget purposes too.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what I would do is, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the repurchase of these two trucks for next fiscal year, and then the purchase of the equipment this year. But please let them know that one supervisor particularly is not happy, was just about ready to go back to international.
Yeah.
Either that or.
Well, I mean, they didn't deliver.
Yeah.
Every
In
month.
most places that would happen, somebody went to the other vendor.
Yeah.
I mean, am I right?
All right.
Let them know that.
Yeah.
I hate to be a.
They're
hard-
concerned about it, they.
Yeah, well, they're not too concerned, they didn't lower the price.
Oh.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, put a clause in there, if it's not delivered in July, it's $1,000 a month, we knock off.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well, that's not usually a problem. I mean.
If it was a big deal, we'd make a big deal out of it. So we can work around it.
Yeah. I don't think that's happened very often, has it, Dave? where
No.
Hopefully they
couldn't deliver.
We'll work around him.
But I mean, international wasn't that far off this time.
No,
Yeah.
$45.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
Probably the new company that just bid our asphalt probably put an order in for a whole bunch of trucks. And probably, we saved it there, but we got clobbered here.
You might be right about that.
That very well could be where that went, where some of those trucks
well,
went.
that's my motion.
I'd second it.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for the bidding the two trucks and also the snowplow equipment. Any other discussion? Not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, yeah.
And I'm
Sorry
not,
for the.
and I'm not trying to kill the messenger.
No, I know you're not. No, you're.
Winging. Not killing, but winging.
They were actually gonna get a new truck, bring it up here, even though it wouldn't be our truck, so they could
Say they delivered?
say they delivered. and so we could pay.
When
I said, we're not gonna do that.
When he goes back, do we get our
That's
money
kinda
back?
silly.
Hand me the keys when I write Andy the check, and we'll see if you can get it back.
There's gotta be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
So are these blue trucks? What color are they?
Yeah, they're blue right now. Want a different color?
No, no, no. I'm just curious, because I see you got a yellow truck and.
Yeah,
you
the
got-
yellow truck kinda came, not really off the lot, after our other yellow truck burned up. We wound up getting that Sterling. And when we had the
That's
fire.
right, you guys had a fire.
It was the one that started the fire.
Huh.
I'm just kinda curious on which direction you're going with the color, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, this,
The fleet.
some of the guys wanna paint the boxes gray. They can use a standard inexpensive paint from like Baumgars to do it without spending a lot of money per gallon to paint the boxes. And told them, that's close to blue. Leave the cabs.
You mean when you repaint them, or?
Yeah, yeah.
We just don't want to be green, like Green County, we don't want to be like Wade.
Powder coated and really drive the cost up.
Seems that I should have something else to talk about.
Now you're expensive enough, Dave.
Tell him to go home.
I'll take you home.
Yeah. I agree.
So have we had a lot of issues with culverts being frozen up and water blocking on the other side?
Oh, more than normal.
I see where our new pile was that day, had water going over the road that one day.
They did, yeah. Yeah, and some time back, we had this old boring machine. It had a Wisconsin engine on it. And it was pretty well shot, but it wasn't totally ready to go for the junk, but we took it out to the sale barn, got rid of it because we never used it anymore. We could have used it.
So what do you do to get that open now then?
We just dug and exposed the ends and
Maybe
got
jet it.
lucky. But, yeah, I'm not sure what we're gonna do in the future. We don't have any sort of jet.
Fire truck.
Yeah.
Be about the only answer
Yeah.
for a quick fix.
Well, if you get one of them
I don't know which one,
where that wire, you could probably use that, couldn't you?
No, we just have.
A pothole, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that sends a lot of power. That
Or a
would-
pressure
that would-
washer with one of those
Oscillators.
oscillator nozzles on it,
Yeah.
and a long pipe that you could
You
take.
just shove it through.
We used a plastic pipe on that one by Mount Carmel, and the dirt wasn't frozen. We were able to go through the dirt with this plastic pipe, and we had a lot of water on the other side. It was really high because none was flowing through the culvert.
Mhm.
Just tied that onto it,
Just
and ran it
shove
up there, and much to our amazement, it got a hole and started eating it out.
The more went through, the bigger the hole got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get the water to run through, it'll thaw
its
it out
own.
itself.
Yeah.
Cut its own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I usually remember just, one or two, and I might be wrong on that, because I don't see the individual ones, but I think I've heard like 4 of them called in on the radio, you better go over here and check this one, and you better go check this one. And I'd have to ask Al for an accurate count on that.
After this last
Well,
week, there
what's-
shouldn't be
what's
much
causing
left.
that, to make kids hide in beer and culverts?
That melting and freezing and melting and freezing. Yeah.
The frost is going out in the bottoms where that water sat. There's nothing there anymore. The frost is pretty much gone.
Yeah, is it really?
The frost is pretty well gone?
Yeah. I started Bill Rosamond, he was digging sewer lines in Ralston the other day, and he said the frost, you get down 2-3 feet and it was.
Well, there was
frost.
2 foot a week ago.
Yeah, but he said it's rotten. He said they went right through it.
Because they dug a couple graves up there in Breda, and it was 2 foot.
Yeah, he said 2 to 3 foot, there was a little frost, but he said it's pretty rotten after this weekend.
Yeah, after this weekend, I'm sure.
They've been putting limestone on the intersections off the paved roads. They've been putting gravel mostly on the calcium chloride spots. And it's turning out to be a good time of year to do that.
Take care of our friend.
I would hope that we did.
Speaking of that, on the corner of
Formula month.
200, I think it's 210th and Pebble over by Glidden by the corn plant.
Said Formula
Yeah.
month.
That corner there is pretty soft with semis going hauling corn to ICP. Might not hurt to talk to Al about maybe put a little white rock there.
Yeah,
That's good.
I think he wants to put it on the corn plant road too, I don't.
Yeah.
So is that because that white rock is kind of creep all in there?
Yeah,
Next
but
to the
it's
even
soft, I mean.
bottom rock is going up?
No, it's, usually they scratch down by the pavement when they're blading, you know, but you've always got washboards and whatnot there, and they're usually short of material there, and a lot of times there's a muddy spot there. So it's kind of just advanced preparation for that, to get a little material in there and get it pushed in, and,
Have you driven the Rye route? Have
Couple
you guys put-
times.
Okay. Any special things we're gonna do there?
don't know if there's one town on there that's not on there yet that I don't want to say anything about.
Well, this wasn't even supposed to be out yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, we heard all about Thursday.
Mhm.
Well, it's in the
Paper Friday.
Paper and.
Coon paper first, and then it went up this one.
Here.
It's not supposed to be out yet.
yeah.
Anyway, just, is there anything special that you got coming in?
There's some cracks and whatnot. I might have to take my bike down probably, 10 or 15 times, during work, take my bike down, ride that.
Is that part of your wellness program?
You know what, I could follow you.
Could you?
How
You
far
could
would you
kind of be my sag
You better
wagon.
hope you're going fast.
How far are you gonna be behind?
They're only gonna be on a few miles of ours.
The mud won't be hitting my
Only a few,
windshield.
yeah.
Might be hitting my grill.
I could tell you, but I'd have to shoot you.
Well, you don't have to tell me.
'Cause you
because
probably
I-
already know.
Well, I think I got pretty well figured out.
Yeah. They told us to
You're
keep
probably
quiet
about
about it.
6 miles is about all.
Yeah, that's,
Well, I know it wasn't supposed to be out.
Yeah, it
They
wasn't
wanna wait till
supposed to be
next
out.
week. I think next week and it gets them out in the paper. That's what they would wanted.
You don't wanna be later than that, do you?
no,
You don't wanna be the one shot.
no. Not over that anyway.
But for the most part, most of them should be.
They're not too bad, no,
Right,
no,
right.
and for the great part of it, yeah, there's just a few little bumps and whatnot. and If it was me right there, I wouldn't have any trouble. It's all there's a bump, drive around.
That's Paul, how that works.
Charlie probably got in trouble for that too.
I'm sure he probably will.
New work, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's 4 miles over there in that one location, but there's some cracks on that concrete that, they don't really line up very straight, and they're full of material, there's sand and rock in them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
A few of these.
Yeah, but to spend a bunch of money tearing that out, I don't see it, I don't appear to me to be a real big hazard. Maybe they'll tell me different, maybe
Or wouldn't they have told you that now already?
I think they're saying that this is what they're proposing, and I think if they find some safety issues, they'll propose something else.
So reroute it.
Yeah,
So they actually haven't went out and rode these areas. 'Cause usually they go out and ride them.
Yeah, they haven't ridden them yet.
but they will, I think.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Dean and I, the big bikers, the other guys could watch, but we could be out there.
Well, I just showed Rich a text from my daughter. I said, no breeder out this year. And she goes, dang, where did you find that out at? Because she watches it pretty close.
I saw one of these new bikes on TV the other day. It's a scooter, and it's a treadmill on a scooter.
Really?
And you just, instead of being inside and doing a treadmill, you can go along on this scooter on a treadmill. It's motorized. But you just have to keep up your pace with the walk.
So you
of the
put a can of beer in the
treadmill.
cup holder.
That's,
Couple cable ties, you can put the whole cooler in it.
Okay.
That's enough.
I think we've done about it.
Covered that one.
Covered that, yeah.
I'm taking my papers and hitting the road.
Thanks,
There you
Dave.
go.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Yeah, I'm sorry for whatever here.
Okay, with that, we'll get on to the second item on the agenda, and that's to review the facility use rules and regulations resolution. And this has to do with the equal opportunity employment policy. We've got that in your packet, it's a draft.
That's for actually the use of the facilities around the courthouse, or what has been used in the meeting room downstairs more than anything. Right, Courtney?
It has to do with, yeah, use of the county meeting room facilities. And, you know, that first part up there says that we aren't gonna discriminate against anybody.
This kind of goes back to that, the auditors.
We're gonna be an equal opportunity
Provider?
provider, renter,
Yeah,
leaser.
employer.
We don't charge any money, but basically what we've used in the past is if people were doing it for the benefit of the public, we allowed them to use the room. We've had a few people ask, they were more of a vendor, like were wanting to come in and maybe sell stuff or sell their services, and we kind of steered away from that. We wanted to keep it more as a public service type of thing with meetings.
But we do allow it to vendors like that, it provides service to our employees that we normally participate in,
Or-
right?
They use this room, but
Yeah.
yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To demonstrate equipment, or that type of thing? Is that what you
Well,
mean,
they're
or
more
for
of
the
a,
county?
they're more of a
Well,
benefit type of person, like
yeah.
Apple
Insurance
or
to cover.
insurance.
Nationwide or something like that, something
Yeah.
that we have
Yes.
a benefits that are.
That serves the employees or the.
Yeah.
I did get hit up once over this.
Mhm.
United Way
Mhm.
said they couldn't come anymore.
Well, we have eliminated, and I might need to talk to John about that. We had people coming almost every day, and somebody was using it for something or other, and that's a lot of work for Zach to be moving tables and chairs and cleaning up, and some people didn't clean up after themselves. So we limited when we allowed use of the room during the day, between, I think it's Tuesdays or Thursdays. And we want everybody out at 4 o'clock and, you know, that type of stuff, because it's a security issue, having meetings in there and in the evenings. Now, there's some special circumstances when we have board members that are gonna be at a meeting, or that type of situation, but when it's
Anybody?
somebody, like, okay, it's United Way coming in, well, so that's why we need this.
Okay.
And we
Well, I
did that
thought it
mainly
was-
for security reasons, because
Okay.
you don't want 50 people in a meeting downstairs at night. Who's gonna open the door? Who's gonna lock the door? I mean,
Who's
it's
gonna
kind of.
make sure everybody's out of their building?
Especially
Yeah,
it's
are
the
they
same
staying in
floor
that
where
room,
our
or are
jail
they,
is at.
or are they up in,
Courthouse.
you know, because I hate to say this in a meeting like this, but people can access our offices if they really wanted to.
Yep.
You know, you've seen
Yep.
the gates on them, so it was more of a security issue than anything else.
Okay.
I understand.
You know, we're not a 24-hour facility as far as having staff here to assist people that want to use the room.
Right.
We've made exceptions, I'll give you an example for like the Democratic meetings, because there's supervisors that are at those meetings, or other department heads that are at those meetings, and you can rely on them to make sure the door gets locked. Or check with the jail and say, hey, can you lock the door, we're done with our meeting. And the person that's in charge of those meetings has been using this facility for years. We've never had an issue. So somebody new coming in and wanting to have meetings at night was a little comfortable with that. So,
Sounds good.
Well, the thing I think is this is pretty generic so that it's flexible.
So what do we need here?
So
Just
can we?
a
can we
motion to approve the
approve
draft?
this?
if you're happy with the draft, we would let John know, and then he would do a final or a formal resolution, and then we could get it on the agenda with a number and everything, and we could approve it.
And then approve the final with the resolution number.
Where did you get the content from this?
I didn't draw it up.
John
John drew it up?
Yes.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we,
Well, you just want a verbal commitment today?
Well,
Yeah.
if you guys are happy with the wording, I'll let John know, and then we'll approve the
I'm
resolution.
just gonna make a motion that we send this to John to get the final
That's fine.
draft.
That's fine.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second to let John put the final draft of this together, the final copy of this together. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, or Gene, you got a comment?
No.
Okay. No other discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Okay, all opposed, same sign, motion carries.
That's what I was looking at. That lease, that is, we went into that next week. then?
Yeah, I'll bring that up in committee reports and we'll talk about that. Okay, then we'll go down to the manure management annual updates. We have 3 of them today. One for Woodford Creek Farms LLC in section 31 of Cedar Township in Greene County. That one is an original plan. The second one is Twin Rivers Port, Mark Schrader, section 22 of Arcadia Township. That one, they changed crop rotation and are using the manure analysis. And then Twin Hill LLC, Joe Danner, section 32 of Pleasant Valley Township. That one also, they changed crop rotation and are using manure analysis. So that's it for the manure management plans today. And with that, we'll go down to committee reports. Rich?
Monday, after our meeting, I had daycare. It was a catch-up for a couple months' worth. Not too many big issues, still have open positions, which I think is ongoing. They went through their annual fundraiser and raised $17,000. That is, and they also received a grant, Greene County, for $39,500, and those 2 are earmarked for the playground. They are still fighting mud and water issues there. They're going to, this fall, do some regrading, get rid of the water situations. And once they get that done, then they are going to purchase some turf to put down so the kids can be out there all the time without getting muddy. And it's about a half a block of mud most of the time. They tried grass and it lasts 10 days and then it's chewed up. So they're gonna do a turf situation. They redone their handbook, and other than that, it was just the wages, and they were all approved, and the financials were approved, everything looked good. Tuesday, Darryl Baker and Marty and Terry Axman and Mike Schwabe and myself, we met here to discuss, Darryl has, we have some workman's comp issues again. People that are not covered and not paid. And we discussed that, and the longer we talked about it, the muddier the water got. So that prompted us to meet with John on Friday. And John and Marty and Darryl, myself, we sat down and we talked quite a little bit about it. John has found a statute that covers the problems. The one that we had were the people are not compensated. They're just strictly volunteers. You do not need to be compensated in order to be covered by workman's comp. We were kind of in the impression that workman's comp followed the payroll. Wherever the payroll is at, that's where the workman's comp lied, and that's why we changed and went back to the cities. We have since then, John's found this statute, and that you can be covered as a volunteer. So now we are rethinking our process, and Darrell's going to get us some firm numbers. There's 10 volunteers in the Carroll area. There are a few in Breda, and I think just a few in Manning. And there might be just a couple down at Templeton. But I don't think there's anything else in Coon. I don't know that yet, and Darrell's gonna try to find that out. And I talked to Terry briefly, and well, when he was in the meeting, it's a number. And my biggest concern was I'm not gonna get into Templeton's business where you've gotta tell us before you could put anybody on as a volunteer or that's not paid. I'm not getting in that game. But Terry told us and advised us that it's a number, a group, and he just either increases the group or decreases the group. So once we get those numbers, then Terry will sit down with him again and he'll get us some costs and where we may have to lie here. And it looks like we may be going to be picking them back up again. I didn't know that these were non-paid, and everybody just assumed everybody was paid or compensated, which then it would follow the payroll. So, things have changed again, so this is still coming around. Thursday night, we had the round table. I thought that was very good, good discussion on that one. A lot of things were brought to light there, and that was it for last week. I have we did have a conference meeting last Monday, I guess, right after this meeting. And then this maybe planning zoning tonight, and I am going to ride with Neil today to go to Rolling Hills. That Rolling Hills vote will be today, and I'm going to go and observe and just to ride along and make sure things don't get out of hand.
Thanks, Rich. Dean?
Okay, I had, on Monday after the meeting, I got a hold of Doug Reed from Council Bluffs for some information on hazmat.
That's the statute, if you want to read it.
Possibility of reaching out to another hazmat unit. And it was pretty interesting conversation. They actually contract with all the counties, Page, Fremont, Pottawatomie, Adair, Guthrie, Cass, and Mills, contract with the Council Bluffs Fire Department. So there is no meetings, they have a 2080 agreement, there's no LPC, that's it. You know, they just contract when they, you know, as it is today, the EMA director from the county, if there was a situation, they would contact our Hazmat 5, Region 5 Hazmat to come down. There was, and I'll get to that, but there was a fire up here north of Carroll on a livestock farm who has a large anhydrous that tank, and the machine shed next to it caught on fire. And she said, I mean, it was give and take whether or not to call hazmat on that one. I'm sure that by the time that they called hazmat, it probably would have been too late anyway. So there probably was a missed opportunity to get hazmat down for that. But with Council Bluffs, it would be the same. So the cost right now, and hasn't changed for years, is 50 cents per capita. The county would, if you wanted training, you would have to contact them. They will come up and do training. Appanoose and Lucas County, which is down there, they're private out of Des Moines. They do a private vendor. Pottawatomie County is trying to form a LEPC with Mills County and Montgomery County, but it's not a big deal. They're not really excited, you know. They've been trying to do this for years. And the reason why it's 50 cents is that they basically cover all their expenses with what they're doing. They're not looking for any new business, and the 50 cents is to cover costs. They do have a contract, which I think is pretty lucrative, with Homeland Security. It's the only one in the state of Iowa, and it's because of Offutt Air Force Base. So that provides them with some pretty good income. So as far as being covered, you know, it came down to this, that I'm going to meet with Doug Reed, who is the Pottawatomie County EMA director at ISAC, and in the meantime, he's going to get a hold of Justin James from the Coon Rapids, or the Council Bluffs Fire Department, and see if they're willing to discuss anything. So that's how we'll leave that. On Wednesday,
So our current contribution is what, $1 something?
right now,
Yeah.
it's $1.50, and it's possibly gonna go to $2.
$1.50 per capita is where we're at right now. And then plus they bill for the expenses they have. Is that,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yep, yep.
Well, they probably do too, don't
They do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's basically an insurance policy that when you call, they will come.
Someone will respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that will pay that 50 cents or $1.50 or what, $2, which it might get to, pays for equipment, pays for training for them, pays to keep the region alive up there, basically. It puts, on the truck we have today, it puts fuel in the tank and it puts tires on and any maintenance, I think they had one tire blew up, they blew a tire, and then when it blew, it took a bunch of, did damage to the vehicle, so it was down in Toynes here for about 5 days, getting redone.
I guess the big thing for me is to compare the services. I'd sure like to save $20,000. I think in most cases, Council Bluffs would be a little further response.
I was gonna say probably an average about 30 miles, probably.
And it depends upon whether you're in Manning or you're in Lanesboro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
Most
right here.
locations, it'll be
Yeah.
further distance.
It'll be further. But Guthrie County has them
So what do we-
contracted as
Fort
well.
Dodge, 60 here?
What's that?
Fort Dodge is here, 60.
Yeah, it's a little over that.
60,
It's
So
about-
say it's a little over an hour to get there.
Yeah, it takes a little over an hour.
65. And
So-
it might not be that much difference.
What is let me ask this, Dean, maybe you don't know this, is our exposures heavier on the west side of the county than on the east side of the county? Like we have more co-ops or is it
I'm
just
kind
kind
of,
of?
actually kind of getting to that piece.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm
It's a
sorry.
good question, because I've always had that question.
Because it's a mileage thing,
Yeah.
and I just was,
So Sarah and I went up to the meeting, to the Region 5 Hazmat meeting on Wednesday, and yeah, that was really pretty interesting. There was, Kevin Danner was scheduled to give a presentation, and he did on Landis, and that was very interesting. And Landis is not tied directly with REG, which has that
It's a separate-
soybean processing plant there.
Yeah.
So, they're independent of each other, and so if you want, REG is probably more of a risk actually than something happening than Landis is.
RBG was in Ralston.
Ralston.
But the interesting part, at the last meeting, I was pretty vocal about our participation and our contribution and the way that we were, the formula that was used was just basic per capita, and I felt that we were treated unfairly because we do not have as much risk here as they do up in the northern tier of counties. So after that, the new Fort Dodge Fire Department chief got up and gave some information that was basically directed at Carroll County. That it was pretty interesting, and I talked to him afterwards, and I says, was this directed at Carroll County? He goes, yeah, he says, I was pretty upset at the last meeting about your concerns that were valid, and so he's gonna send me some more information, but in the history since 1993 until now, there have been 177 total calls. 54 flammable, 41 unknown, 29 anhydrous, 10 propane, 9 corrosives, 8 pesticides, 8 poisonous liquids, either gas or solids, 6 chlorine. Of those, there were 80 of them were transportation driven, 97 of them were from facilities, And in Carroll County, they had them broke down by the county, those 77, and since 1993, Carroll's had 5. 2 transports and 3 facilities. We are considered, and this kind of surprised me, but we're considered the second highest in Tier 2 facilities, which would be, Tier 1 is very hazardous, Tier 2 is, and then there's Tier 3. So, minor things, but we were 53. We have 53 Tier 3 facilities, so I'm guessing it's probably all the co-ops and whatever. And that was second highest of all the regions. One thing that they did say is that there's getting to be more radiation moved through,
The train system.
well, mostly
Truck.
truck, yeah. And it's mostly for hospitals,
Oh, just
cancer.
like the-
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
didn't think about that.
So there's getting to be a little bit more of that than there has been, on the local scenes. And it was confirmed that the rail lines have their own hazmat personnel, and they may not come very quick, and a lot of times they'll come with a pickup, quickly. But you'll get them to show up with a pickup probably right away, but then the actual cleanup is coming later. And they count on the fire departments to do the containment and any kind of evacuations or something like that. But as far as actual hazmat, and I think I referred at the roundtable I did talk to, this is something that, these could happen anywhere. The Greene County incidents last week or last month, with one of them was the tanker truck that hit the, is that the one that ran the stop sign, or was it the livestock trailer that
I think it was a livestock.
I think it's livestock.
ran a livestock ran?
Hit the
yeah,
tanker truck.
Hit the tanker trucks. There was one fatality. There were some real issues there, and then there was also the same day, there were 2 grain trailers collided with a snowplow in Greene County. So, I mean, yeah, those things can happen anywhere.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to, and there was also a house explosion in Greene County. And there was a chlorine leak in Duncombe. And this is one thing that Kevin had pointed out, is that if you have a chlorine or an anhydrous leak, you have 15 minutes to report it to the EPA. Otherwise, the clock starts ticking on the fine. And Duncombe got hit with a $14,000 fine because it took them 21 minutes to report. So, that's what the EMA director does. They have to make sure that happens.
Well, the facility should know that too.
And the facility should know that too as well.
If only got to run how to split that way.
So I'm going to get some follow-up on that, as far as, what the other counties, how they were involved with the calls and that type of thing, and I'll share that with you. They talked about the retirement of the individual up there and how they're going to fill that position. Right now, Peg Stickrod is in one of Iowa Central Community College's buildings, and there was a shared partnership there with Iowa Central. Has been issues, I understand, for years. And that's going away. They will now put an office in, they haven't decided this, but Merrill Leffler was there, and one council member from Fort Dodge was there, and then, of course, the police chief. They will have a central office either in the fire department building or the county or the city. And the shared position will be with the fire department at a total price salary of $38,000 and benefits of $23,000. I thought the benefits were a little bit high. But I think ours, a lot of times, run about 18 the way. So but they put value on vacation, which I never heard of before, but I guess a lot of people do that. The employee would be half-time. There is a half-time employee with the fire department. That job will be eliminated, and this new one will create a new one, which will be half-time with both the Region 5 and the fire department. And there's also an individual that's working part-time there that is interested in the position, so. I think that basically covers everything with Region 5, and so I'm gonna go ahead and visit with this individual and try to talk to Justin James and see if we're talking apples to apples as far
Yeah,
as.
but comparable services. is
Yeah,
what it comes
comparable
down to, because
services.
The money is
Yeah.
obviously a big difference.
And then, if nothing else, I think what this will do is make the region much more efficient and much more accountable, even if it doesn't work out. So I think that was a good exercise. It's kind of like when you beat the drum loud, people listen, so. Had the city-county roundtable, and Neil and I addressed the Farm Bureau meeting. That was a lot of information shared there. I thought Neil did a real good job with that. And then I talked to Adam Schwers at the city-county roundtable, and he informed me that Mr. Hebner the Commissioner Hebner was replaced on the DOT commission with Craig Paulson. He's a former Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
Who stepped down in 2016, took a job with Iowa State University. He's going to continue with that position. And he's also going to be a DOT commissioner.
Is he from up north of Sioux City?
Hiawatha,
Yeah.
Cedar Rapids.
So
So,
I put two of them up in that area then?
well, I guess I'm not sure.
There was one up there.
Anyway, he's along Highway 30, so hopefully that will help. And John Putney from Tama, Toledo, in the area there, was reappointed. So I think that's good news. I think that's going to favor the DOT coalition. This week, I don't have anything going on. Do I?
11 o'clock.
We have a meeting at 11 o'clock, yeah. With Chamber.
Carroll?
Thanks, Steve.
Any questions? Oh, I do have, I can pass this around. This is the audit report for Region 5.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Neil?
Okay, Monday after meeting, I was at the conference board meeting, which I made sure I attended because the rest of you'd be there too. Also on Monday afternoon, I had the ambulance board union meeting with Gene, and they had no problem at all with 2.5%. They haven't responded yet to us. I'm sure they agree with 2.5%. Their decision is whether to make a 2-year agreement as everybody else has it, 2.3%. I don't know why, but they had a couple of ambulance board members. They had no union representative at their I don't know why that was or wasn't, but anyhow, Renee was here and Gene and I were here, and we had most of our discussion was centered around their unique work schedule and how it would involve either overtime or regular time, and how the 2.5% should be figured out. And we ran into a little problem with that. I don't understand exactly what it is, but I'll be meeting with the ambulance director on Tuesday afternoon, and Gene is gonna be there as well. And Gene may know more about that than I will. And on Thursday evening, as Dean said, he accompanied me, teamed up with me at the Farm Bureau meeting. It was a good meeting. We talked about a lot of things, the budget, the rolling hills, the secondary roads department, the jail situation. It was a good, good event to have happen anyhow. They basically wanted to know what our agenda was for the coming year, so I told them what some of our situations were. This afternoon, I meet with Rolling Hills, and we have to make the decision, we are going to make the decision of the year, whether or not to allow Woodbury County into that. In the meantime, we've had a lot of dialogue, a lot of letters from Woodbury County, and we've also had the Rolling Hills MHDS Regional Advisory Board response, and they're not generally in favor of it. Some of the points they brought up is that Woodbury not wholeheartedly attempt to resolve differences with their previous region. Their funding concerns for current providers. There would be a lot of turmoil which we inherit, which we do not have. The pending concern about lawsuits coupled by a couple of Woodbury providers, which we inherit that baggage. And what happens if settlement with Supervisors does not go as Woodbury plans, and we're talking financially, of course. They want to know if weighted vote would be in play, which is not. They're accepting our 28E as is. I guess the only situation where Woodbury County would have more clout because of their size is if in case there would be a tie vote among our board members, that Woodbury be the tiebreaker, because no weighted vote does come into consideration. Weighted vote. So anyhow, I'm gonna meet at 2 o'clock with, apparently Rich is gonna attend as well, and she's most welcome to attend. And
How do you think that's gonna go, Neil?
well, of course, as you know, Dean has to meet the muster of the Rolling Hills Board, and you're concerned with that, and I think it could go either way. There's some idea that having them join a region on our terms would be much better than being told by DHS that they have to meet. That they have to join us. They have met our financial request that they do $30 per capita, which we're doing much less, which is high as they can do. And they're also gonna bring $1 million to reserve, which I don't think is enough, which other people think is enough. It's debatable whether it's enough of money or not. So they've met the request of some of the board members. So I think it's kind of sitting on the fence whether or not they will be accepted by meet the muster, so to speak, of the Rolling Hills Board. Of course, that's only step one. Step two is getting the vote of each of the board members, which I think will probably go the way that the Rolling Hills Board members vote, but not guaranteed, of course.
So you're saying no?
I'm saying it probably won't go through. If I was a betting man, I'm not
Okay.
very good at bets.
Yeah, things can change overnight.
So my vote today, if I had to vote right now, would be not to let them in. I've been open-minded over this whole thing, and I will boil this down to what's the benefit to the Carroll County and the Carroll County people more than, the people we provide services here. That's what it boils down to, I think. Thursday afternoon, we're going to have our second on our jail committee, and one of the things I did mention at Farm Bureau is that Ken Pangry was wanting to put together a citizens committee, and he'd be interested in having a Farm Bureau member have their perspective on the jail committee. So I did mention this at the Farm Bureau meeting, and I didn't have anybody raise their hand, but I mentioned to them that any of their board members would be interested in being involved with the jail, or if they knew a member would, to contact either myself or Ken Pangry. As of this morning, nobody has contacted me or Ken Pangry. I'll talk to him. That's my week. This week is Rolling Hills and Onset Jail Committee. Any questions?
Good luck to this afternoon.
Yeah.
Does the vote of our, if it winds up in a tie, or then we have to approve it, does our vote here still count as one, and each
Yes.
county still counts as?
They have to have a majority of the county's entire board of supervisors. Let's say for them to get in, the closest they could have is let's see, there are 7 members, it'd be a 4-3 vote in their favor on the governance board, and a 3-2 vote on a majority of the boards of supervisors. That would be their narrowest margin of victory. So if we vote 4-1 to let them in or not let them in, the vote goes with 4.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be made unanimous decision by us, doesn't have to be a unanimous decision of the different county board of supervisors. In fact, their vote was only 4-1 whether to agree to our terms at the Woodbury County, so it wasn't unanimous, or 100% there either. Other questions?
Thanks, Neil. Gene?
Okay, on Monday night, I was at the conference board in the afternoon, and then later on, we had the ambulance union negotiation, and Neil discussed that. It went, I thought, very well. And then Monday evening, I went over to Clinton City Council with Shannon in regard to just reaching out for what the CADC does for the communities and the county as a whole, and went to that meeting. So then on Wednesday or Thursday, we had the New Opportunities annual meeting. This was rescheduled from the week before, and basically went through the audit of that we got. And this is the audit here. I haven't looked at it myself yet, but then there's a short version here of the audit that they put out, that we did have increase of in total revenues, and our benefits, basically salaries and benefits went down. Our assistance to public was down 63,000, and that was due basically that we lost the Partners for Families. We used to be their fiscal agent. So, and then our assets, change in assets, we had $556,605 increase. And that is misleading, because that has to do with that new building that we bought in Waukee. They have to add that in there like as an income or not. So I'll pass this around. So it was a clean audit. Everything went good, so that was all right. We did approve the indirect cost for this next year of 16.8, and then we did reapprove the fiscal policies and procedures manual with no changes. Chad was not at these meetings due to his first time. He's never missed a meeting, but his mother having some issues, health issues. And then we basically selected our board of directors for officers, and the officers all basically stayed the same, except for which would be myself as president, Rick Eck as vice president. John Hayes was getting off the board now, so it'll be Teresa Mobley from Scranton will be the treasurer, and Joyce Morris from Greene County as the secretary will be getting off, and Carl McGlure from Calhoun will be filling that place. On the Audit and Finance Committee, John Hayes is going to be replaced by Terry Streakler from SAC. Okay. Then we just went through all our policies, some of the policy and procedures that we always have to do every year, and also had everybody go through their code of ethics and nepotism policy and conflicts. Then after that, we had our regular board meeting. Went through the bid process for the annual audit. We will be doing that again. We did approve a public funds pledge thing. It has come now that NUOP will be also guaranteed their funds like public funds. So we're gonna get that higher interest rate. So that's good. Basically, then we went through, did all the policy council updates from the last meeting. I think I went through that here a week ago. We did talk about we were involved with an opioid grant update. We're working with that, and that's going to include some monies, and then we'll be able to provide this the drug to give to counteractive. We'll have some of that available to put out to the local departments or whatever. Ooh, I think that was basically about it. So, and then after that, on Thursday night, I went to the county roundtable, and I thought that was a very good meeting also. A lot of good comments made there. I did bring up in regard to the jail as far as getting people that would want to get on the committee, and I did have a volunteer come up out of there, and that was Barry Bruner. So I'm not had that. This week, I have, Tina and I have got a meeting in the chamber office at 11 o'clock. And then tomorrow is CADC at noon. And then after that, Neil and I will be meeting with Darrell Baker in regard to that union thing. And then on Thursday is the jail committee.
Any questions for Gene? If not, thank you, Gene. Last Monday, I had the conference board along with everyone else here. And then on Tuesday, Courtney and I had a conference call with the state auditors. And we got several items there that we'll go through. We just had the conference call, and they're going to be sending us a written copy of some of the deficiencies there. One of the things that was brought out was the county attorney's lease, and we're going to address that next week at the board meeting. I think everyone got a copy of that to review, so if there's any changes or anything, just let me or John know, and we'll kind of go from there. Then after that, we met with, Rich and I met with Terry Axman with Workman's Comp. I guess the only thing I'll add there, Rich pretty well covered everything. Probably the biggest concern there, I guess, is, like Rich said, it's basically a number, and the thing that we don't want to get too defined in it is that we have just certain people. It's better that we have numbers, because that it's kind of a revolving door. They're coming in and going as volunteers, so we want to keep it a little more open there. That way our bases are covered. Then on Thursday, had the city-county roundtable, and that, like I said, that Gene and everybody that was there, it was a good meeting, I thought. After talking afterwards with Barry Bruner, as far as the committee, one name that was also brought up that we should maybe see if he'd be interested, be the magistrate with Eric New, if he'd be interested in kind of joining in on that. I can talk to Ken, or if one of you guys want to talk to him, it's up to you guys, but I can visit with Ken a little bit about that and bring that up and see if there's interest there, if he'd be interested. And then on Friday, Rich and I and Darrell met with the county attorney and went through with the workman's comp, and that was a little more defined. I felt a little more comfortable after that meeting.
Yeah.
As far as what we can do there. And then this week I've got Region 12 on Thursday. Our board meeting is Thursday at 12:30. That's about all I have. Courtney, you have anything you want to add? So, any comments from those in attendance? none, we're in order for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? Now, call for the vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thanks, everybody.
I know
And that's
one
been
thing